Welcome, everybody, to our weekly look back at the National Football League. That's John Lewis. I'm Eric Crawford. We talk mostly about local boys made good in the NFL, but we hit a little bit of everything. But, John, whenever we talk about the NFL, it's like we talk about Lamar Jackson every week. We might as well start with Lamar again because, again, he's piling up big numbers.
Yeah, I think he's piling up numbers, and he's going to be piling up some cash. I mean, he took a bet on himself, and he passed up what sounds like a pretty huge contract. But what we have seen is he's been able to back it up, and he carried the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. I think he accounted for 5 touchdowns. So, he's doing it all. We were kind of joking last time that it's too bad that he can't play safety because they need some defensive help. But man, he was just doing it all, and he was under pressure for a lot of the game, and there was just no stopping him, especially in the run game.
Well, yeah, and it's not just, we see it ranks number 4 in the league in rushing overall. That's not just for quarterbacks. Yeah. That's for everybody. But he's also ranks high in passer categories. I mean, he leads the National Football League in passing touchdowns. He leads in passer rating. They had that horrible loss against Miami where Miami came back and stunned them. But the superlatives that he's piling up, and obviously to ratify all this, he's got to have success in the postseason, which he has not really had yet. But first NFL player in the Super Bowl era to in the first 3 games of the season to have 10 touchdowns and 100+ yard rushing games and all those. It's really incredible to just look at all of the things as you click them down. I mean, he was the fastest in the NFL to 10,000 passing yards and 3,500 rushing yards, 59 games. The second fastest was Michael Vick at 143 games. So it's, his contract is something everybody's looking at. And obviously that's going to be a topic with him all season. But I think he's marching his way pretty well to some kind of nice payday. I don't think he's going to be hurting.
No, he'll have grocery money, no doubt, here pretty soon. But you're right. I mean, we can talk about the regular season a lot, but when it comes down to, what are you going to be judged on? What is the team going to judge you on? It's going to be postseason results. That's one place where, of all the strengths that Lamar has in his game, it has been getting, past that first round in the playoffs. So, but you're right. I mean, what we're seeing here is historic, and it doesn't seem like, as long as he can stay healthy, how could you ever see like this, trailing off toward the end of the season?
Yeah, no, I don't know. But again, it's a lot. He's carrying a lot, and that's the one thing. Yeah. Is he durable enough to do that over the course of a 17-game season plus postseason? That's going to be an issue for him. Though he's bulked up this year, he's a little bit different built player this year. He's bigger, more durable, and honestly, almost 70% of his passes through 3 games, I saw a stat earlier today, have been from the pocket. So it's not like he's always running for his life or anything. So
no, I think
so that's good.
Yeah, Eric, I'm sorry. I think we've seen his game take a step up. That was the question I think going in. Did he already hit his ceiling? And I don't think that he has now from what I've seen. I know it's a small body of work, but man, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. One guy that has been running for his life early in the season, but who did not yesterday seem to manage it, is Joe Burrow. The Cincinnati Bengals break through for their first win of the season. That's a big win for them and something that's going to be, welcome in Cincinnati. They get a fairly easy win over the Jets, 27-9, and he seems to stabilize, but it's still an issue for keeping him upright for Cincinnati.
That's the problem. I mean, this doesn't need to be the offensive line show for 2 weeks in a row, but I mean, it is what it is. And you're right. I mean, you've got to keep that guy upright. We saw what happened when they went to an AFC championship now and won. They went to a Super Bowl. Evan McPherson was a huge part of that. Don't take anything away from the kicking game. That was one of the teams that we really saw was special teams, extremely special for the Bengals last year. But you're right. I mean, he was under pressure, and sometimes the Jets, they're the elixir for what ails you, and that was the case for Cincinnati Bengals. But I will say this: they built some confidence. Now you turn this around, short week, and they play the undefeated Miami Dolphins on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Now we're going to see really what they got defensively and offensively.
Yeah, that is a big Thursday night matchup there in Cincinnati, I believe, is where that is. So that's something we'll all be keeping an eye on. A game that I didn't see coming. I don't know if you saw it coming or not, but let's talk a little bit about the Colts because they get the win over the Kansas City Chiefs. They were underdogs, had not shown anything to indicate that they were sitting on a big win like this one, and yet they pull off the upset.
I don't want to take anything away from the Colts, but I think there is some internal strife, and we saw it a little bit with Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy. They had some issues. But Mahomes, I mean, this guy is a monster in September. I don't think anyone saw this coming, but Matt Ryan throwing that touchdown there with, I think, less than 30 seconds remaining. And he found a rookie receiver twice. And I think maybe what we're starting to see with the Colts is you have a rookie receiver and you have a new quarterback. They're finding a little bit of chemistry here. That could go a long way. Now, remember, they got one of the top rushers in the league, too. You start putting that together, maybe we're starting to see this turn around pretty quickly because it was looking kind of grim for Indianapolis early.
And, again, how the outlook changes with one game. Clearly, Kansas City's beat up a little bit, and, it's one of those early season things. But, you talk about the loss for Kansas City, I don't think is a killer. The win for the Colts has huge upside because they really needed something positive to happen, and they did get it to happen. Another team fairly close by that needed something positive to happen were the Tennessee Titans. They had to, they needed a win. They came in 0-2. They got the 0-2 Raiders. Was a little surprised that they jumped out on the Raiders. They did it in typical Titans fashion. I was at this game. Not at very many NFL games. I did get to go to this one, and they, the very first drive is like 8 or 9 minutes, and they run it down, and Derrick Henry looks like he's a little bit back to his old self, and they grind out a win, which is how they're going to have to win this year. I don't know that Derrick Henry is going to carry them as far as they need him to carry them, but he's fun to watch when he's playing well.
Oh, no doubt. I think he's still one of the best players in the league, and I like how they utilized him. That he might not have had 100 yards rushing, but they used him to receive out of the backfield. And when you're able to use that, he really becomes the dual threat that they need. And you saw it up close and personal. And I tell you, I really thought that Las Vegas was kind of my dark horse team. They get darker by the week. They're the only 0-3 team now left in the league. I don't know what was really going wrong with them, but that was a big grinded out win for the Titans who needed that.
Yeah,
I really like that they were able to utilize Derrick Henry a lot more.
Now, and the Raiders, look, Carr is doing a nice job at quarterback, but their receivers are letting them down. They're making some spectacular catches and then dropping easy ones that are hitting them in the hands. And they dropped the game yesterday with 2 or 3 catches that they just didn't pull in that NFL receivers should pull down. And you do that in this league, you're going to get beat. Those early window games, again, all of them fantastic. I think there were 8 games in the early window. They're all coming down to the wire. The NFL is really, I don't know what they've done to do this, but every game seems to come down to a field goal or a 2-point conversion or something happening there in the last 2 minutes. They've got this formula worked out, and it's working well for them.
And you look at the late window with Tampa Bay and Green Bay. Yeah. I mean, it was the same kind of thing. But to your point, what you were talking about were receivers. I mean, anyone who was watching that game, how many times did Tampa Bay have a receiver who didn't catch the ball, caught the ball or fumbled, or just, was not able to do a whole lot with it? Now, until the end, I mean, it was, Tom Brady, of course, drives them right down the field, and they got just within a 2-point conversion of tying the game and sending it to overtime. That was the marquee matchup. Didn't quite live up to it until the fourth quarter, but what would you expect from Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady? Yeah,
well, what would you expect? Even the games that aren't particularly great are entertaining. And, I get home and sit down to watch the Sunday night game, and that was brutal, but it still, comes down to the wire. So you get something out of it at least.
It was a slugfest for sure. It was looked like the Rockies and the Giants there for a while.
Now, I don't want to get out of here without the one thing that a lot of people are talking about today. One of the more entertaining things that happened yesterday, CBS Sports caught it on video. Man, when coaches get angry, it's, we've all been there. We've all been there on deadline, John, sometimes. But, the Buffalo Bills have a chance late. They don't get it. The offensive coordinator reacts badly. And, what can we say about that?
Well, I appreciate, that what we saw there from Ken Dorsey. That looked like me, as you said, on deadline when I get media offline or I'm trying to send something from some arena somewhere and it won't go through and we're trying to hit a deadline. That's I think you've seen that from me in the press room a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've seen it from all of us. Look, watch this if you haven't seen it.
I mean, he's mad, and you can understand why in that game.
Yeah, we've all kind of been there. So I like that. I mean, fans, we were just hearing a couple of days ago, college football wise, Louisville fans mad at Scott Satterfield not showing enough emotion. I don't think anybody's going to be mad at that emotion coming out of that. So.
No, especially and the Bills. I mean, I still think that they're Super Bowl contenders, but man, that they've had some heartbreakers here early on.
Yeah. I don't think any of us have any long-term concern over the Buffalo Bills. They're really good. They do have some issues. They've lost a lot of close games. They've lost 6-7 close games in a row, in fact. So they're going to have to get over that hump. But nobody's perfect, not even in the NFL.
Nope. Do it. Well, you know what? You've got 2 3-0 teams. Depending on what happens Monday night, you might have 3 with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, with the Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants. Giants being 2-0, but yeah, it's perfection is awfully hard to get.
It's incredible parity. There's the Bills are better than everybody. And the Chiefs, when they're rolling, are better. But there are some elite teams, but it's incredible. Any week to week, anything can happen. So it's been fun to watch. John, thanks for this. We're going to do this every week. If you have suggestions, things you'd like to hear us talk about, we're happy to do it. We'll be back next week with more on the National Football League.